Good morning and happy Sunday. Isn't it a glorious Sunday? You might be asking yourself, Tracy, where's your coat? How are you out there walking with just a hoodie on and your hat and scarf and gloves? Well, that's because I have on my Cuddle Duds, which are like long underwear, but the brand is called Cuddle Duds. And it's a long sleeve shirt that's just, I don't know, feels like, I don't know what it feels like. I can't think of materials right now. Fleecy or something, I don't know. It doesn't matter, but it's very warm, that's all I know. And I put it on under the sweatshirt, and it feels great. She's slinging all over me. Hey, come back this way. Please stand by. Hey, you gotta come back. Dadgum gloves, hold on. Do you ever wonder what goes through a dog's mind when they use the bathroom and you stand behind them and pick it up? Like, thank you, servant, for cleaning up after me. I had a friend one time who said that if aliens do exist and they are watching us, they probably think dogs and cats are in charge, because every time they use the bathroom, a human comes along and cleans up behind them. It's true though, you know? If you think about it, that's quite a funny thought. I was watching Pawpaw on Hanging with Pawpaw this morning, and Pawpaw said that he was talking about trash, and then he was talking about a woman who had a reputation, okay? So that's what triggered the memories. The first one is about my cousin, and I told it before, but it's been a while. It's worth telling again. My cousin decided that he was going to start his own business. That's a very bad way of putting it. But his dad, my Uncle Junior, had a garden. He always had big gardens. And my cousin decided that he was going to plant something in the garden that was located across the street behind some bushes, because nobody would ever know. Well, except my uncle decided a few months later that he was going to put a garden over there. So he went over there, and there was all these tall weeds growing. So he pulled them all up and he threw them in the back of his truck. Well, when my cousin came back to check on his crop was gone. So he starts looking and asking around, and discovered that his dad had been riding around with his crop in the back of his truck for a few weeks. Because, you know, I love you men, but y'all get to it when you have time, kind of thing, you know. So he never had time to go by the dump and drop his load of weeds off. It turned out to be weed, for real, marijuana, yeah, that my cousin was trying to grow in my uncle's crop. In my uncle's garden. So please stand by. Okay, so my uncle then finds out what he's been hauling around in the back of his little pickup truck for the last few weeks, and finally decides to take it to the dump and drop it off. Thankfully, he did not put it on the burn pile. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he should have, but he had emphysema from smoking for so long, so he didn't do burn piles anymore, right? Because he was already on oxygen. But yeah, my cousin planted a whole crop of Mary Jane. That reminds me of another story. One story leads to another that leads to another. But when I worked at the sheriff's office, this person I worked with, I love her dearly. We were good friends. And she didn't always understand all the words in law enforcement. Now, I may have trouble with everyday words, but law enforcement words, I understand, because that's what I did for so long. 36 years in all. 2 of them were part-time at the police department, and then the last 4 were part-time at the sheriff's office, but 30 years full-time working at the sheriff's office. So I know all about the big words, right? The big police words, the law words, and such as that. Well, the real name, the medical name, I guess you would call it, for marijuana is cannabis, right? Cannabis. So I don't know why the police officer took the warrant out and put it as possession of cannabis, but he did. So my friend is entering the warrant, and I hear her from her desk yell out, "Oh my gosh!" And I said, "What?" And she said, "He's charged with eating somebody." I said, "Who?" Because I'm thinking, in all my years, I ain't never seen a warrant for that. I got to read this, you know. Because, hey, when a good warrant comes in, that's excitement. We like to read those good warrants for strange charges, you know. So I go walking up there because I want to read about this Hannibal Lecter that we have a warrant on that's going around eating people, you know. I need to know more about this. I went up there and I picked up the warrant and I read it. I said, "You big dummy." She said, "What?" She said, "It says cannibalism." I said, "No, it does not. It says cannabis." And she said, "Wasn't that the same thing?" I said, "No, cannabis is marijuana." She said, "Then why didn't they put marijuana?" I said, "I don't know that, but he's not been eating people. I mean, at least that we know of, he's not being charged with eating people. He's being charged with possession of marijuana." You gotta love it, you know? Anyway, I'm just glad that my uncle never got caught driving around with all that cannabis in the back of his truck, because he would have went to jail. He would have went to prison for possession with intent to distribute. Or there's another one. Anyway, he'd have went to prison for a long time for that, and it wasn't even his. He didn't even know what it was. But he'd been driving all over town with it. Can you imagine? I mean, because that stuff, it kind of sticks out. It's a nice, vibrant green. So, sometimes, especially out in the country, when you see helicopters flying over, that's what they're looking for, because it kind of does stick out. It's a nice color of green. Okay, so now we're going to move back to the plumbing just for a quick moment to catch you up on everything. Now, I did make a post, and like I said, last night's video finally did post. I think it was around midnight or after midnight. You gonna let it all hang out after midnight. Okay, so anyway, I did try a plunger a multitude of times. I would do the baking soda and the vinegar and the hot water and the plunge, and it would bring black water up into the sink. And then I would try the dish soap and the hot water and the plunge, and it would bring black water into the sink. And I kept having to drain the sink so I could try something else. And then Joan told me to go get the stuff. It was called Instant Power, and it is septic tank safe. So I can't use the Drano and all that stuff because I have a septic tank, which I didn't know that until just a few weeks ago when Joan told me. And I was like, what do you mean I can't use that? It's something about it messes with the balance in the septic tank or something. I don't know. I think the septic tank is kind of like our stomachs, and we have to have good bacteria and bad bacteria. And yeah, that's kind of like a septic tank. That's a terrible comparison, but it's pretty true. Anyway, so I got the Instant Power, and I poured the water in, and I let it sit for poured the chemical in. It's a lie. You have to wear glasses and long gloves and all the things. And it said let it sit for an hour and then pour the hot water in it. So I did that, and it cleared a little. So last night, Joan said, do it again. And I plunged again and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've plunged so many times that I've built muscles, okay? So I tried it last night. I poured the 2 cups in. And then it said, let it sit overnight. And then this morning, do the hot water. Well, I woke up at 5 this morning, just all excited about trying the hot water. Not really, but that's what I did. I got up, I heated up some water, I poured it in there. It went down. It went down. I was like, oh, I turned on the water. It didn't back up into the sink. I was like, oh, it's fixed. Okay, so now I sit on the floor and I have the doors open, and I'm going to take my flashlight, and I'm going to make sure that nothing is leaking, because I still had a bucket under there. So all the little thingy things that I had unscrewed and screwed and unscrewed and screwed, they were all tight, and they weren't leaking. Why can I not say that word? They were not leaking, and I was so proud of myself that I had gotten them back on tight, and they weren't leaking. Now, the only problem was the sink where it cracked is leaking, but it's kind of only when it's holding water, not so much if you just run water. I mean, I still got to replace it, but still, yes, that hot water cracked my sink all the way across. I mean, it's just a faint hairline crack, but it's enough that it's leaking. Well, then I notice the pipe that goes into the wall, right at the wall, is leaking. So I'm done. I'm done. The clog is cleared. I'm not putting anything else in my sink. I am not running water. I am not pouring hot water in it because the pipe going into the wall is leaking. It's not even going into a bucket because it's just running down the wall and pooling on the floor of my cabinet. So I am not trying anything else. Nothing ever again. Well, maybe not ever again, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to call the plumber and be like, okay, I did everything that everybody said. Everything. And now I have a broken sink and a leak. And I'm not blaming anyone for the broken sink because he told me to use hot water. The plumber did. And then I got several comments about using hot water, boiling water, all the things. And then I looked it up on Google and YouTube, and they said boiling water. So it's nobody's fault. It's everybody's fault, but it's nobody's fault because everybody that said it had done it, and they had never cracked their sink. So maybe there was just a flaw in the sink, but it cracked it. Yeah, I mean, the crack is like whoosh, that long. So I'm done discussing plumbing now. I'm not going to try that anymore. Okay, and finally, for the rest of the whatever video, Penny's fine. She went to the potty this morning, and she hasn't had any more gas that I am aware of, because every time she toots, she comes running to me and wants to be held. So, yeah, that was a mess yesterday, trying to hold her and keep her calm and deal with the sink and all the other things. It was just a madhouse. But we're not going to talk about that anymore. And she is just fine. As long as I sit right here, she's very much just fine. She doesn't like when I get up. But, you know, things have to be done, because not a lot got done Friday and Saturday. All this started when I got off work Friday and then ended this morning when I discovered the leak. So, I'll never get those hours back. Anyway, I have a 12 o'clock nail appointment. I'm so excited to just go and sit and let her play with my hands and massage my arms and all the things. Because, yeah, I need to get away from the bathroom. You know what I mean? I've had enough of that bathroom. Hopefully this video will not take all day to upload, but I would like to thank Angela from Ruby, A Southern Tradition, I think is the name of her page, for telling me how to complain to Facebook about the uploading issue. I don't know if this works for just people with pages. I mean, you know, like your own personal page, or if it has to be a page like this. I don't know. But she said you go to your page and then you shake your phone and it comes up and you can type in whatever issue you're having. So I don't know if they are the ones that helped my video get posted yesterday, or if it finally just posted, because I gave up and went to bed. I had held this phone, this phone for about 5 hours, watching it slowly upload. And I mean, it was just a normal length, one of my normal lengths. But if it's going to start doing that, I'm going to have to do shorter videos, because I can't hold my phone for 6 hours. Because like I said, I went to bed and it posted somewhere around midnight. So I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. So I hope it works today. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video though. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. I hope he's coming back soon, because people be crazy. And I will talk to you on the next Tracy Tries, which hopefully will be tomorrow. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Okay, goodbye.